You can access the entire episode now on our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, Rokfin, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. I want to get deep into what these forces are that you were just mentioning. What are these intelligences that are pulling the strings, and how does this all form our human experience here? First, I do want to get into some of what we're seeing with technology and the way that it's steered our consciousness and caused us to divert from certain natural paths in the past few decades and where it's really going. And you mentioned AI, and it used to be a really terrifying subject for me before I came into the awareness that there's really nothing to worry about as long as we're on our true path and doing what we have to do. But it can be terrifying to examine and really look at some of the implications of what's happening with AI. What do you see there?
Oh man, there's so much to see. And yeah, of course, the dire aspect of it annihilating us, which is, one obvious aspect is definitely there. What I find interesting, because I'm constantly tracking consciousness and the amount of freedom and agency and sovereignty the consciousness has, because that's where the game gets interesting. And that's when we are really at the edge of our abilities, right? When we are making conscious choices, which is no small task, because we are run according to a lot of our psychological patterns, unclear trauma, a lot of assumptions, a lot of cultural programming. So in order for us to be able to get to clarity is a big deal. And so I'm tracking AI and how it potentially is tampering with that and will tamper ever more so, especially when utilized. Now, AI can be utilized intelligently by luminous beings, by intelligent sovereign humans, for our betterment. And that will happen inevitably as well. It's just that the overall state of consciousness, the state of quality human beings right now on our planet is not that great based on what I am able to see and discern. And so these people are guiding the evolution of AI, which is not great. So AI is inevitably going to be used to incentivize people into these closed loops of functioning, especially when it's tethered to digital currencies, digital IDs, and centralized authorized technocratic rulership, in which people will disavow their ability to make conscious choices, creative choices, to see the world based on the way that it is in this moment, by incentivizing behaviors, thoughts, and emotions, which are rewarded probably through blockchain technology. And it has the potential of creating a living hell on Earth, and really collapsing and limiting our consciousness into small pockets of controlled behavior. Now that's a very undignified and pathetic way for any of us to live. And it's interesting because AI, in its way of organizing and systemizing all these ways, if it's used in a negative way, really taps into the mechanical way that human beings function already. Myself, you can probably attest to this, the audience, if we're honest, much of our day is spent on rehashing the same old thoughts, same old behaviors, same emotions, and we sort of go with them. If we're not fully always doing the inner work, and none of us are truly fully always doing it, we continue to recreate similar aspects, and etc. So a lot of our consciousness, because it's not refined and being super pristine, tapped into the now, will easily tap into what AI offers, because reality it's frustrating, it's confusing, it's often scary, and it's beginning to look more and more scary based on all the things that are happening, both orchestrated and I think just as a natural part of this evolution. And so hiding in this AI very well organized definition of what reality is, of the actions that you need to take, the thoughts that you need to think, I think for a lot of people that will actually be a comfort, because a lot of people do want to be told what to think, how to feel, just as long as they're comfortable, and do not seek truth. So I'll stop it there because I can go on forever with this.
Perfect. I have the intuitive just understanding that what we're experiencing probably happened many times before, that everything is cyclical, that we're re-experiencing everything. Everything is about remembering who we are, why we're here, and it's all a process of basically remembering our soul mission, where we really come from, and why we are here at this moment. It seems like what's happening now is it's a combination of this remembering, and it's a desire, like you said, to be outside of this box that we built for ourselves through religion, through education, through these control systems. Now, my question to you is, how did we get to the point where we are completely governed by these intelligences, these dark forces? Is there a point in the human experience, in every lifetime and every cycle, where it's part of our journey that we have to encounter ultimate darkness, have it almost infiltrate every aspect of our lives before we can even realize that we are under this spell? And it seems like this just keeps happening, and it may happen until maybe somehow break some sort of cycle. I don't know. How do you feel about how everything is unfolding in that way?
Yeah, I would agree with you that there is this perpetual dance of dark and light, at least the way that we understand this realm right now, because I can only attest to this lifetime.
Right.
That's all I remember. And we know history is so contentious right now, so all I can do is infer from my experiences here. And I am seeing that the tension created by oppositional forces, by polarity, which is what our realm is based on, is polarities and extreme polarities, and then the gradient of phenomena and experience between them. And as we map out those polarities, we're really mapping out all the various experiences and all the skills and abilities necessary to go from one to the other. Experiencing something like joy and sorrow just gives and builds on that library of awareness, of knowing of what it is to be consciousness, experiencing the various flavors, notes, and colors of being, right? So that's kind of taking a zoomed out, more charitable approach. Now, when we're in it, it's gnarly, it's gritty, we know what it is. It can paralyze us for a lifetime. Some of us can live in fear, regret, and sorrow for a lifetime, so deeply identified with it, not being able to let go or seeing a way to empower ourselves out of it, to choose something else. So there are many traps in it, but I do see that my approach and my view is that of conscious evolution, that the main game in town is the evolution of consciousness. So that means the evolution of one's awareness being, and one's ability to merge with everything, to discern between everything, to be able to tell all these notes, and then to start creating within it all, right? Tapping into the creative source within, to God, to source, being informed by that, but also being allowed not only to be used as a conscious tool, but also making those choices to surf reality and really, and to do so, we will encounter resistance at any time. And that resistance is part of this, especially in the physical realm. Resistance is super important, right? Resistance is basically like a container, because consciousness or any form of energy uncontained with no laws of functioning is just amoebas and not formed. But for whatever reason, however this realm was formed, it has all these various laws, and we're inferring them based on the feedback it gives us from our actions. And so it is fascinating. So something like, what happens if, right, let's say COVID is a great example. It's such a great case study, the COVID moment. It's like, what happens if there's an exertion of power using fear and then limiting your movement and basically forcing you to do certain things to your body that you may not want to? Well, if one says, okay, let me take a step back because I don't know better, this is confusing, and someone outside of me knows better, they retreat. Well, the next action that occurs in reality is more of the same and even worse.